you really want to build AI first, AI native, AI core kind of software product company, most of your employees should use AI so that they can actually realize the power, acknowledge it, and also adopt it. Right? So that's essentially the thesis.
Hey everyone, welcome to a quick Matrix Moments podcast. I have Vijay of Atomicwork with me here. So Vijay is the founder and CEO of Atomic, which is a company which is reinventing HR and IT workflows and creating a better employee experience with AI at the core. I think Vijay just made a trip to the US and came back, so we thought we'll chat about demystifying AI, what's hype, what's real, and how founders and business builders should be thinking about implementing AI either in internal operations or in their product. And so I think with that, Vijay, first, hype or real, how's it feeling?
I believe it's real. The reason I say it looks like a real trend because a lot of us, when we use these new tools, including ChatGPT, are finding immediate value. So the way, at least I use, the judgment is if something can provide immediate value, there is a potential for it to provide durable value, right?
Okay.
And unlike Clubhouse, which most of us have signed up, used once or twice, then we never went back. But in the last few months, a lot of us are going back to ChatGPT again and again and again, and getting super excited about LLMs. So I believe it's a real and durable trend.
Awesome. And can you talk about, I know we discussed this before, but about sort of adoption of AI tooling within Atomicwork and what's been the experience with that and across engineering, product, marketing?
So I think one of the things that internally we felt, if we really want to build a product with AI core, first we need to become power users of AI ourselves, across the teams, right? Across our product, engineering, marketing, even like the one member go-to-market team. So the first thing we adopted was Copilot for our engineering team. As expected, there was a resistance. So this is like what we started adopting, I think, early Feb. Saw a video of Satya talking about Andres Karpathy using Copilot when he did like programming for Tesla AI and afterwards as well. So that really inspired me to push the team saying, why don't we try it out? There was some resistance, but as people found value, daily utility value, and I think there is a durable value. And everybody in the engineering team moved, including the CTO, right? So and those of you who know our CTO Kiran, he generally has a very high bar for adopting technology. So that was the first change. Then there was a ChatGPT movement. I was trying to use it. Then like one of our PMs was trying to use it. I wrote a first investor email. I think when it just came out, that first weekend after it came out, when I sent that email, I said, okay, this email was formatted by ChatGPT. And that actually encouraged like a bunch of other people within our team also, because the team gets copied on that email to explore it, right? Of course, some people like didn't go back to it, but a whole bunch of us, including myself and our PMs like Shankar, Ramesh, and in marketing Sai and all, we started using it more and more. Then I think most of us also bought pro subscriptions. Even I told everyone, if you're in a PM team or marketing team, you can buy pro, company will pay for it. I think there is a real value in it. It can actually make you super productive. And then we are now using tools, to essentially find some prospect intelligence, buyer intelligence. The core thesis is anyway not about how we used, but the philosophy that if you really want to build AI first, AI native, AI core kind of software product company, most of your employees should use AI so that they can actually realize the power, acknowledge it, and also adopt it. Right? So that's essentially the thesis.
Yeah, got it. And I think two schools of thought, right? One is people saying that AI as an incremental copilot, right? And I guess over there it's like GitHub has a copilot, Notion has an AI writer, so everyone's adding this on, obviously it makes people more productive, but incumbents will still capture most of that value because it's AWS for compute and then your Notions and Microsofts of the world who are making money from it.
Yeah.
The other school of thought, which is maximalist, is probably that hey, LLM is the new backend and chat is the new front end, which also seems like a pipe dream. I don't know how true that is.
Sure.
The answer probably lies in the middle, right? So just wondering again from your visit, like how do you see founders thinking about it in India, founders and sort of experts thinking about things in the US, and how should founders building in domain think about it?
Yeah, no, I think great question. So I'm not obviously an expert, so I just become prompt engineers like most of you last few months. But I think I learned two things, right? So when I went to US in March, most of March I was there. I met like a lot of people. Everybody was asking, how are you thinking your product and product evolution with it's all excitement around AI. Right? So these are like not just startup people who are CEO of a company that is ready to go IPO, right? Even like when I met Akshay of Notion, he asked like, how much of your roadmap has changed because of AI, right? And then I went and met like veterans like Bill Kuran, who's a partner at Sequoia and has seen things from programming languages to early web to mobile to cloud to now AI. So this is a joke I often tell among my founder friends. When young people, pitch a trend, maybe you can ignore it. But if old people pitch a trend, then you truly have to give attention. Especially because these people have seen like decades of changes, right? And ML has been like a pipe dream for most of us for like last 10, 15, even 20 years, right? Yeah, we did like some cool things here and there, with classifications, clustering, anomaly detection, etc. But with AI, suddenly it feels like the value addition has gone up 10x, right? Even when you use like a chat GPT or agent GPT or auto GPT or like any of these cool Chrome plugins that you can use for search and retrieval and whatnot. I think two things I felt. I basically felt before going to US, I was also thinking LLM is just a layer, we plug it into our product. But after I came back, I basically said, no, it has to be at the core. The reason why I say it has to be at the core, so what are the core things for a product if you look at any product? Most products have this cold start problem, which is there is a configuration, integration, setup, where we either put a lot of software automation on top of our product or throw people to solve some of these problems. I see we can actually use this assistance to help people with a human layer to make that super productive and reduce that friction. And second thing is, most enterprise software products have very clunky configurations, very clunky admin management things, which we can actually make very delightful using AI. Third thing I believe, if you are building workflows, whether you are building content generation, whether you are building forms, right? You can do like not just a lot of intelligent defaults, you can actually see a lot of seeding work for your end user using AI. So at least my perception has changed, our team's perception has changed. Now we are saying, okay, AI has to become core. If we think that way, at least we will make AI as a strong layer, or a strong component of our product. If we think of AI as a layer, then we might only think, okay, I can use this for as a virtual assistant, or maybe I can use this for some summarization or some answering kind of capability. One of the reasons I asked everybody in the company to start adopting and move and also forcing on them is because I want people to realize, right, when they use like a lot of these tools, sometimes as a end user of these tools, you realize, okay, how powerful this can get and how we can use in that product, right? That's a reason why I said first you have to become, if you're a startup of 5 people, 10 people, 3 people, it doesn't matter. You have to become power users so you can actually realize, acknowledge, or write off. You say, okay, I have used, I don't believe, that's my conviction, that's up to you. I think in US, whenever I met people, everybody is deeply thinking about making it a strong part or a core of the company. And as I said, even my own thinking before I was there for 4-5 weeks was think of it like a layer, right? Because if you add it as a layer, everybody can add it as a layer, then there is no differentiation for you, right? And but I also believe it just can't become a layer because of SaaS experience, because all on-prem folks thought if I just shard, partition my database, add APIs, I can become a SaaS software. It didn't happen, right? So all like this mainframe kind of folks thought, if I put a server client, then I'll become, right? All this server client folks thought, if I just add a web layer, I'll become like a web app. All the web guys thought, if I render it, I can become a mobile app company. We all have seen this, at least, some of us who've been there for like last 20 years or so in tech. The desktop companies didn't become web companies. The web companies were not the big winners in mobile. The mobile companies were not the big winners in cloud. And now we are seeing with OpenAI, the big cloud vendors are not the big winners in AI. Right? My suggestion is experiment. First, use it for personal use cases. There are like a lot of tools. And then decide for yourself. Right? But if you ask me personally, would I bet if I have $100, how much I would bet on AI? I would bet probably like $50-60 on it.
Got it. And obviously right now a lot of early applications are consumer facing, right? Where hits and misses are okay, right? But in a B2B workflow like yours, you cannot afford to have those misses, right? They can be expensive and very costly for you. So what's been the experience of implementing some of these LLMs in the product itself?
So I think great question. I think LLMs, I think all of us know, they do a lot of hallucination. They can make up things which are not real, which is great if you're writing a book or storytelling, which is not great if you're giving a customer support response, right? Because you can't make up things, right? So I think that's why I use this word seeding. You can use AI for seeding work. Let still your end users do the refinement, before they deploy. Maybe it will take some time for us to truly allow them to do the full work, right? So the way I'm basically thinking is, this year and even next year, we can actually use it to seed a lot of work. And, also like large language models, the reason they are so good and also the reason they are so bad is because they are so large, right? You also have to build, a specific language model for your use case. So you can reduce this
small
language models, domain language models, specific language models, SLM, DLM, whatever you want to call it, can reduce this hallucination. Now, but look, seeding the work where human still acts. When I say human, your end user or your admin or your operator can review, either discard, start from scratch, or start on top of it. Itself could be a huge value. So that's why I said, like, if I had $100, I won't put 100, on it. The reason is we are still not there, right? So we are still in like a huge hype cycle, on crypto also, like, I mean, personally, I tried using it, bought tokens and whatnot, but very hard for you to find immediate value, right? With cloud, you could launch infrastructure, deploy your same code, you found value, so there is immediate value. So now with AI, we are seeing that, you can ask it to summarize something, format something, create something. It's early days, but look, tech can get so better. And the joke I tell people is when mobile revolution started, it took a year for mobile companies to update stuff, right? When cloud started, AWS, Google, Microsoft, all these folks were shipping stuff every quarter. Now in AI, like if you just notice what happened in last 4 weeks or 8 weeks and 12 weeks, these people have reduced that from a quarter to weeks, right? Which obviously shows the progression has been like super fast. My first advice again is go use bunch of tools. If you're a designer, use Midjourney or Adobe Firefly or Canva. Even like Figma is people are writing plugins, ChatGPT plugins to help on Figma. If you're a product manager, you must use ChatGPT, AgentGPT, kind of things. If you're a CEO, there is no reason that you can avoid skipping using GPT. For your PMs and founding team, you should buy.
Can you share examples of how PMs are using this?
So very simple, when I shared this screenshot even with Parso, we recently wanted to find taxonomy for how companies create department names, right? What is a traditional thing? You go look at bunch of competitors, bunch of companies, then you come up with, whatever, like, okay, 10 departments, right? These departments, think of it like engineering, product, customer support, GNA, legal, etc. For ChatGPT, this is just one prompt. You can do this whole damn thing in 5 minutes. Then you spend half an hour refining it, right? So which can reduce the 2 hours of search work, right? The beautiful thing about transformers is they can reduce a lot of search work for you, right? Some aggregation work. You still need to do refinement work, right? In some companies it could be called engineering. Some companies it could be called R&D. In a very big companies, the department is called R&D.
Or it might be IT.
IT,
Yeah,
right? IT will come under GNA, right? So your IT and your legal, like a lot of these things come under GNA. But like in a few thousand people company, they might call it engineering. Some companies they might call it prod engineering. Now you decide, should you allow customization for department or not? But the seeding work could be, leverage. 2, we are using it to write internal emails, external emails, format them. 3, we are using it for SEO refinement of our content stuff because, I have shared this on my Twitter as well. ChatGPT prompts for SEO. The engineering team using Copilot to write a lot of spaghetti code, plumbing code, that skeleton code, which makes them super productive. I think there are like a lot of use cases, which have emerged in very short time, right? I think nobody touched Copilot until ChatGPT. At least because I heard about Copilot for like more than a year now.
ChatGPT was the marketing moment.
Right, ChatGPT was that moment where you really felt, and even when you talk to other founders, other CTOs of scale companies, if they are using it, it's a crime as a startup if you don't use it, right?
Yeah.
Because productivity for you is like matters a lot more than like a super big company with a super big customer base and
Got it. And you said you'll bet $50 or $60 out of 100 on this.
Yeah.
So predictions time, right? What do you expect that comes up in the next 1 or 2 years? Obviously, the pace of shipping is phenomenal and the pace of innovation is crazy. But where do you think this gets us to in terms of product?
I'm not an expert. As I said, I just became a prompt engineer like most of us. But I believe 3 things that could potentially happen. This is also like a lot of learning and reading that I have done and heard from people and debated with people, etc. I think today we are still seeing AI mostly for human leverage. As a PM I'm using, as a designer I'm using, as an engineer I'm using, so I'm getting more productive.
Yeah.
Hopefully in few years we can get to an operating leverage. Okay, your 10 engineers probably will be able to do 15 engineers work. So that's a big operating leverage.
And what's the difference between the two?
Right. So the difference is, today, like we are still looking at it from an individual lens, saying how AI can help my end user, how AI can help my engineer. Tomorrow we will look at it from a lens of how AI can help my company, right? That's operating leverage, right? Then it can even deliver business leverage, right? As I said, like you take a SaaS company, SaaS is a high tech. We spend enormous amount of capital on product engineering, customer support, customer success. I think in these 3 areas, I genuinely believe that it can deliver even a business leverage, right? For companies that adopt, it can deliver a business leverage. Why I say it can deliver business leverage is, as I said, like companies have cold start problem or activation problem or adoption problem, which can make it better and better, using less people, which essentially means probably, this is my dream. I don't know whether it is going to happen or not. We all had this wow moment, when WhatsApp acquisition happened. Very small team built such a great product, scale product, right? But we didn't see like hundreds of examples like that. So recently, when Figma acquisition happened, we again all felt wow moment because the scale of acquisition. But look at the team size. This is not like a 10,000 people company. It is like a less than 1,000 people company built such a phenomenal product and go to market and revenue. I now believe, like last decade, you probably needed 10,000 people, even if you're a tech company, to get to $1 billion ARR. Hopefully, this is a lot of hypothesis, ifs and buts, but I genuinely believe if this thing is, we all found immediate value, we are seeing some durable value. If it can deliver scalable value, right, AI as a tech, hopefully a lot of us can build companies with less than 1,000 people, for thousands of enterprise customers, make hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue without applying a lot. See, this doesn't mean we reduce employment, right? Or people don't have jobs. People can go do a lot more work. I still remember my school. This is a joke I told in one of the panel. When I was in a school, bank employees in India went on a strike when the government decided that we'll deploy computers because bank employees thought the computers will take the jobs away. It's actually a real thing. You can go search. But what people didn't realize is a bank which was operating with 1,000 branches then can get to 20,000 branches by using technology. Right? That's what helped, right? That's why banks have now, you go to a lot of modern banks. If you go to even Kotak, in a tier 2 town, there are less than 10 people in the branch. They are using and serving probably few lakh customers, in that area. So I genuinely believe humans will always have jobs, whether that job is seeding job, refinement job, editor job, reviewer job, or decision maker job. We don't know. But I think it will create tremendous opportunity, and that's why I said I will probably bet $50 to $60. Learn, don't ignore it, and trends are always shaped by humans. They're always dropped by humans. It's great, if you drop as humans, okay, this is not the trend, right? Look, there are a lot of ethical concerns, safety concerns. Those are all right things, right? But again, I give an example of when telephone came. A lot of companies said we can't put this shit in our company because what if our employees call and tell our competitors all the secrets of how we are building things, doing R&D, etc. Same thing people had with emails, right? Even in tech, when our services companies didn't even used to give laptops to people because they thought that can actually cause problems, right? But now taking work laptop home is such a common thing.
And maybe just a flip or the contra view, but obviously so much of the hype is going on.
Sure.
What advice would you have founders to, just maybe the opposite end of the argument?
No, I think,
become too much?
Yeah, I think we have seen, whatever Gartner calls it hype cycle, people call it, Dunning-Kruger effect. So right now we are at the peak of effect. We will all have some disillusionment, then start from there. So that disillusionment can happen because look at the way we are giving benefit of doubt to ChatGPT versus we didn't give benefit of doubt to Google or when Bing came up with their previous model, right? Because when big companies launch these things, we expect them to be perfect. When startups or small companies launch these things, we are okay even with the imperfections, right? That's how things get better. So that's another reason why I also said I would not put 100%. If I have $100, I won't put 100 on AI. I would still encourage to think deeply about it, use it, then think about how you want to shape your roadmap or your product. And you don't ignore it was my first feedback. Why I'm saying, you don't ignore it is this is not a blockchain where you don't know what the use case is. You never had immediate utility value. There is a utility value. We are seeing some early signs of durable value. What we don't know is whether it's scalable and sustainable, right? But there is nothing wrong, as a startup, you can move fast, you can do a lot of good things in few weeks. So you should take some bet. No bet is probably a bad bet on this one.
Got it. Awesome. Thanks so much, Vijay.
No, thank you, Pranay.